Hi, this is Jamie Martinet, Vice President, Music Insights and Industry Relations at Luminate. You're listening to the Your Morning Coffee podcast with my friends Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart. Weekly music news for the new music business.
For music business worldwide, the music business is still not the safest place for women to work.
An op-ed by Larry Miller for Variety, Live Nation antitrust lawsuit will do nothing to lower ticket prices.
And from Hypebot, how to plan your next release 2024? Well, we've got a lot to cover today, Jay. I say we spin up the turntable, drop the needle, and start right about now.
Stand by for transmission.
This is London calling.
Wake up! The revolution is at hand!
Your morning coffee is on the air. On the air. On the air. On the air. On the air.
Standing by.
Your morning coffee, the weekly music news for the new music business. It's the highly curated, agitated, advocated, moderated, and liberated digital music information that you need to know. We are your digital music authority. And now from our studios in Hollywood, California, here's your hosts, Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart.
So good to see you, my brother. How are you?
Doing great. Good to see you. That was strange weather last night. We had a little storm just come in on a beautiful day in the middle of the night and just drop a ton of water and then just move on. Crazy.
It was like we were living in the Midwest with thunderstorms and rain and bizarro, not SoCal weather for middle of July.
No, it's really weird. Yeah. This week, we are so excited. We dropped our vinyl roundtable episode. I'm really super excited. If you haven't heard that, check it out. It's a special bonus episode of the Your Morning Coffee podcast with vinyl experts Michael Kurtz from Record Store Day, Billy Fields from Warner Music Group, Bill Hine from Pressing Business. Just a fun episode.
It was a blast to record. So in the episode, we discussed the state of the vinyl union, so to speak, the experience of listening to vinyl, production times and capacity, ownership versus access versus fandom, who's buying vinyl, the art of the tune stack for vinyl, the trend of artists releasing physical first. We talked about used vinyl, Record Store Day, and so much more. It was a really, really fun conversation.
Yeah, and I love the way it kicks off. We use the song from Todd Snyder. The song is called Vinyl Records, and it just fits so perfectly for that episode. And I want to do a little shout out to Todd Snyder. He has re-recorded all of his albums, basically live in the studio with commentary. He's such a great storyteller, and he's releasing them for free. He's going to put out one a month. Well, he has been all year, one per month. My favorite Todd Snyder album, which is East Nashville Skyline, is coming out July 26th. But this initiative is called All My Songs. And again, he's to celebrate his 30 years in the music industry, he's releasing all of his albums one a month for free. How cool is that?
Good on him. Boy, what a neat thing to do. And a neat way to kind of, get people thinking about you again.
Yeah, absolutely. The other special episode, which is about to drop, we're really excited about this. You've heard us talk about this a little bit, is the Luminate 2024 mid-year report that's coming out this week. We sat down with Luminate Vice President of Music Insights and Industry Relations, Jamie Martinet. He walked us through the report. He provides invaluable insights, and so look for that special episode right around this Wednesday.
Yeah, another great conversation and fun to check in with Jamie. He's been super kind over the years to sit down with us ahead of time, and it was wonderful. Wonderful. Of course, we talk about great books. There's a great book by our friend Bobby Borg. It's a big one, 564 pages. It's Music Marketing for the DIY Musician, Creating a Plan of Attack on a Low Budget. If you may know, Bobby is an assistant professor of practice at USC's Thornton School of Music. He is known for simplifying complex business matters into a digestible form, treating all students equally and fairly as they deserve, and projecting an enthusiastic, straightforward, no BS approach, which has earned him the title of coach affectionately by his students over there at SC. But great stuff.
Yeah, I love that. Bobby's written several books that are widely used in the music industry, including Music Marketing for the DIY Musician, Business Basics for Musicians, Personal Finance for Musicians, and the Musician's Handbook and Introduction to Music Publishing for Musicians. So we just opened up the book, and the very first page of the book has some really cool little marketing nuggets.
Yeah, again, so did you know that Pharrell Williams stimulated massive buzz after he created the world's first 24-hour music video for his song Happy, featuring continuous clips of people dancing and lip-syncing? Clever idea.
Yeah, Bobby goes on to say that Drake replaced all the original newspapers at a newsstand with his own phony newspapers that were all about him. Needless to say, the media ate that up.
And Bobby mentions, of course, Beyonce has repeatedly dropped albums and videos with no notice or promotion. These surprise drops, of course, sparked massive word-of-mouth publicity.
Yeah. Did you know that? Travis Scott pioneered a new avenue for music performances by live streaming a virtual image of himself in concert on Twitch, effectively merging the worlds of music and gaming in a new and unprecedented way.
Blau set records in the NFT world back when he auctioned off 33 digital tokens linked to custom songs, access to never-before-heard music on his website, and a vinyl version of his album, all grossing him, check this out, $11.7 million. That's the largest ever NFT sale at the time.
Wow. Local metal band Death Threat 2 creatively secured a residency at a theme park's haunted house, a perfect sort of out-of-the-box place for the band's brand and for winning over new fans. Clever.
And USC student Ashes to Amber hit 1 million streams on Spotify after getting a YouTube influencer to feature his music in her makeup tutorial.
Yeah, a couple more. Independent songwriter Mikey Wax was discovered and signed to a lucrative publishing deal after placing his music with spin teachers in Los Angeles gyms.
Independent artist Jake cleverly released a series of extremely creative, reactionary, and remixed TikToks of his single Golden Hour, which eventually gained millions of streams, became a viral sound, and earned the artist a deal with AWOL Sony Music Entertainment.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Finally, Snapchat influencer Karen Marjorie launched an AI-powered representation of herself called Karen AI, which brings in $1 per minute, reportedly $5 million per month. Could this be a new revenue stream, a new model for music artists? He says this is marketing. And that's just the first page of Bobby's new book, Music Marketing for the DIY Musician. Highly recommend it.
Yep, that's the third edition, Creating a Plan of Attack on a Low Budget, and that is out now.
I've collaborated with Bobby in his music marketing classes at USC and UCLA over the years. Such a great guy. You know, if you're a student looking to learn about the music business, Bobby's classes and his books they're simply the best. So also check out his YouTube channel for some little bite-sized nuggets of advice. And speaking of music business education, I'm honored to be speaking again at Jeff Mayfield's Los Angeles College of Music Marketing, Budgeting, and Music Data class soon. I've done this before, and it's always a great time. Jeff is a student and teacher of the music business. He was the senior analyst for Billboard and Universal, and he's still a freelance journalist. So looking forward to working with Jeff Mayfield.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, and of course, given how everything is changing, legal stuff is so important to understand and know about in this wacky world of music business. And we've got a new Your Morning Coffee podcast feature. It's called Legal Minutes with Schwartz and Schreiber. Biranna Schwartz is a partner with Alexis Schreiber in Schwartz and Schreiber. Say that 4 times fast. A law firm with a primary focus in the music, entertainment, technology, and intellectual property sectors. All important stuff.
Yeah, they've agreed to come on the podcast and help us sort of wrap our heads around important issues. And we have one this week. There were a lot of stories in the trades this week about this quote unquote landmark victory for songwriters. The new rule basically clears up uncertainty about who gets paid streaming royalties when songwriters take back their music rights. Trickier question than it sounds. So here's our first installment of Legal Minutes with Schwartz and Schreiber. Bree, thanks for joining us today. So great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Jay. Good to see you as well.
There were a lot of stories this week in the trades about a quote-unquote landmark victory for songwriters. For those with no prior knowledge about the MLC and publishing, talk about it and break it down for us.
Yeah, of course. So the MLC operates solely within the US and essentially collects royalties for digital mechanical rights, which applies to interactive streaming on the DSPs. So Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever it might be, under the Music Modernization Act of 2018. It was established to, handle blanket mechanical licensing for these DSPs, collecting royalties on behalf of songwriters, composers, publishers, to essentially help creators better streamline and collect royalties that are owed in that regard. The U.S. Copyright Office finalized, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, a new rule ensuring that songwriters who insert their Section 203 termination rights will receive streaming royalties from the MLC, which is what I previously described to you guys. Previously, before this ruling, such royalties would continue to go to former rights holders despite a Section 203 being instituted, which essentially is counterintuitive considering that a Section 203 was created to level the playing field for, small creators who sold their works to powerful companies, major publishers, whatever it might be. A Section 203 provides authors or their heirs the right to terminate copyright transfers after a period of time. It's around 35 years. The law is very particular in that regard, but it explicitly states that this right cannot be waived through contractual agreements, which many people in the industry think to the contrary, actually.
Bree, what do you think the implications are of all of this?
I think the ruling really will reinforce the protection of songwriters' rights in this digital age, potentially leading, to more creators reclaiming their works under the Section 203 and receiving, fair compensation from streaming royalties after doing so, which will be really interesting to see how, if there is an influx in Section 203 terminations, because you don't see it quite so often because, as mentioned earlier, it's very particular in inserting those rights.
Thanks so much for helping us understand all of this. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jay.
Wow, that is really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah,
so nice to have them chatting.
Yeah, she explains it so well, and we're going to have them on again. I met with these two, and they're just really great people, and they're very smart, and they know the ins and outs of this stuff, and they're going to share their knowledge with us. So thank you, Bree.
Greatly appreciated. And hey, Jay, before we jump into the stories, let's give a big shout out to the sponsors because man, oh man, oh man, we are lucky dudes to have some great folks behind us for the podcast.
We sure are. Special thank you to our newest sponsor, Music.ai. Music.ai is a trailblazing AI-powered music and audio platform offering an expansive suite of over 50 stackable AI audio solutions. You want to change the tempo or pitch of your song, adjust instruments or vocals, mute background noises in a movie. Music.ai makes it easy. Embraced by record labels, agencies, tech firms, and developers, Music.ai is synonymous with audio innovation. With over 45 million users, their tools process over 2 million minutes of music every day. They can process yours. Visit Music.ai to get started.
Oh, yes. And boy, I've been jumping into it. It is some powerful tools. Really, really cool stuff on that website.
Yeah.
So, all right, the Your Morning Coffee podcast also brought to you by friends over at Bandzoogle. For over 20 years, Bandzoogle has made it easy to build a stunning website and online store for your music. Now they've added a brand new EPK plan so that musicians can create a professional single-page electronic press kit in minutes. All the features you need to design an EPK are already built in, including fully customizable templates, preset EPK page layouts, music players, images, text bio and video embeds, a gig calendar and press quotes, and access to Bandzoogle's award-winning support team 7 days a week. The new EPK plan starts at just $6.95 a month, and Your Morning Coffee podcast listeners can jump over to bandzoogle.com to try it free for 30 days. Then use the promo code MorningCoffeeEPK, that's all one word, to get 10% off the first year of the new EPK plan subscription. That is bandzoogle.com, promo code MorningCoffeeEPK.
Yeah, and special thank you to Hypebot. Since 2004, Hypebot has chronicled the new music industry and the trends and technologies that are changing how music is discovered, consumed, marketed, and monetized. It's edited daily by founder Bruce Houghton with help from Alana Bonilla. Hypebot and sister blog Music Think Tank are published by live music discovery and marketing platform Bands in Town.
Yes, indeed, Bands in Town. Over 80 million live music fans trust Bands in Town to get personalized concert alerts, recommendations, and messages from their favorite artists. It's the #1 artist service platform, connecting over 590,000 artists with their superfans. Managers, labels, agencies, and artists access their own dashboard to manage and promote their tour dates across all platforms, and it is on the homepage of my iPhone right now.
Mine too. And finally, a special thank you to Billboard Pro. You want to know what everyone in the music business is talking about? Get in the know with Billboard Pro. Billboard is offering Your Morning Coffee readers a very special 50% off discount off the price of your subscription. Just click on the link in Your Morning Coffee.
Indeed. Thanks again for our amazing sponsors, Bandzoogle, Music.ai, Hypebot, and Bands in Town. Mucho apreciado. And every week I get to hang out with Jay Gilbert talking about various things, including this morning guitar chords and fingerings and using capos and all kinds of fun stuff. He is a music industry consultant. He is the curator of the weekly Your Morning Coffee newsletter and a former executive with Universal Music, Sony Music, and Warner Music Groups.
Yeah, and this music geek that I get to do this show with every week is my friend Mike Etchart, longtime host of Sound and Vision Radio, formerly of SST Records, Warner Music, Capital EMI, and Universal Music Group. And we were just geeking out over the latest Rick Beato video, and we've watched, so many of those videos.
All of them.
But this one is just off the charts. If you're a musician, especially if you're a guitar player, he has this episode that just came out with Tom Bukovac, with what's that guy's name? His last name is Trapp, I think, Trapp. Anyway, two amazing guitar players, and it was just such a great, fun conversation.
Yes. We love to hang out and chat about that stuff. Well, let's jump into the stories, though, Jay. Our first one, it's from Music Business Worldwide. Ryan Jones put this together. The music business is still not the safest place for women to work. Music Business Worldwide's Inspiring Women series profiles female executives who have risen through the ranks of the business, highlighting their career journey from their professional breakthrough to their senior responsibilities they now fulfill. Inspiring Women is supported by Virgin Music Group. This time, the focus is on Jessica Vaughn.
Yeah, to say that Jessica Vaughn has had a colorful career would be an understatement. She started off as the artist Charlotte Sometimes, securing a management deal while still in high school, and later a record deal with Geffen, Interscope, and a publishing deal with Sony.
So her careers came of age alongside the 2000s wave of pop-punk rock artists like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Gym Class Heroes, and The Academy Is. However, grueling tour schedules, Vaughn says she once played shows 26 nights in a row, alongside loneliness and feeling a lack of support, turned what was once a dream into a terrible experience.
Yeah, she remembers, quote, early on, I was like, hey, there's no women with me on this tour. I'm lonely, sad, and underage, so I can't go anywhere. I was hanging out in motels by myself, sharing a bed with all my bandmates, and wasn't really clear where the money was going and who was supporting me when I was sick or showing any sort of emotion. That led to some scary, dark places.
So Vaughn asked for a day off and says her complaints were brushed aside. Instead, she said she was sent to a doctor who prescribed a cocktail of drugs, including steroids, sleeping pills, mood stabilizers, and antidepressants.
Yeah, she was put back out on the road and actually assaulted by an older session player from another band the next day. Vaughn reported it to management, who she says didn't take it very seriously, and then they decided to part ways.
After becoming disenchanted by her experiences as an artist, Vaughn started writing songs for others, but couldn't see the financial gain of cuts due to the nature of her deal at the time.
Yeah, she said, eventually I figured out that the only way to change the music industry is to participate in it, she said. She turned her sights to the business side and made connections in the music licensing space.
So she started to write music for sync and worked with publishers to help artists find their authentic voices in that space. Eventually, a desire to make the industry a more fair, equitable, and safe place led to a job in publishing over at Heavy Hitters Music, where she increased revenue by 107% and arranged diversity, equity, and inclusion training for the company. At the same time, Vaughn started writing articles and finding her voice as a spokesperson for change.
So amazing. Alongside her day job, Vaughn runs her own label alongside her husband, Ryan. It's called Head Bitch Music. She writes custom music for brands and puts out releases from mainly queer and women artists. As if that wasn't enough, Vaughn still releases music and performs as an artist and has recently signed a global publishing deal with Peer Music.
So she says, you are your own business. You are in charge. Your team is your team. They are your collaborators, and no one should feel like one person is leading. It should be a conversation.
Right. She says, surrounding myself with a team that wants the best for me, cares about my health, and believes in me, it's a huge thing. You need to work with people who trust you and you trust them, and that takes time, but it's so crucial to the safety that's required for touring. It's required for even the safety of working in an office.
She also says, I've learned to ask more questions. When I was younger, I was so bad at asking questions. I always thought I'm being annoying or people don't really want to hear from me. They think I'm silly or stupid. Now, I don't care about that.
That's smart. There's nothing wrong with inquiring about your own career and the decisions that are being made. You don't have to be accusatory to your team, but you can be inquisitive and call people in when you're not sure about how something is being handled. Ultimately, you want to know how your money's being spent, and you're trusting your team to handle that properly.
So being an artist doesn't mean you have permission to not be an active participant in your career, because it's a business, she said. We've been told throughout our careers, hey, you stick to the creative, we'll handle the business for you. Well, I think most creators have poo-pooed that these days. They want to know how things work.
They sure do. It's good to know because one day you might not have a team. You might go independent, or maybe you want to retire as an artist and go into management. There are all skills that are so important to know, whether you are actively doing it at the time or not. It's basically like free school. Why wouldn't you want to learn? So I had the pleasure of speaking with Jessie this week about her Inspiring Women feature in Music Business Worldwide. Let's listen in. Jessie Vaughn, so good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining me.
So good to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
We read that Inspiring Women feature from Music Business Worldwide. Such a great interview. In that piece, you said, and I quote, "I'm the kind of person that needs to constantly grow, evolve, and be challenged. That requires me wearing multiple hats." So tell our listeners about your background and some of those different hats that you currently wear.
Of course, I've been in the music industry professionally since I was 16 years old. So I started out as a songwriter, an artist, transitioned into custom music, and then eventually started running my own company called Headliner.app Music, which we have distribution, we have custom music, as well as publishing and sync. So many factors. And then I'm also the head of sync at Venice Music, and I'm still a signed songwriter. So those are all the hats I wear. And the hat that I'm most proud of is super weirdo.
You know, the music business has a long history of, gender inequality to outright misogyny. The headline of the Music Business Worldwide article is "The music business is still not the safest place for women to work." What's being done to make the music business safer for women, and what more can be done?
That's an amazing question. And yeah, it was definitely a headline that got your attention. It got mine. I was like, did I? Oh, I did say that. And I stand behind it. Right now you're seeing a lot of amazing organizations like She Is the Music, kind of coming together, women in music coming together, identifying what these issues are and trying to work together to dismantle them. That being said, it's all the women that are doing this work, and we need men to do the work with us in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish to make it a safer place. So I think what we need is more allies and more men joining us at this table to have these discussions and not be performative, but actually put together action items so that we have a clear path forward. If we don't have that, then we're just screaming into the void.
Yeah, it feels like 2024 has really been sort of the year of the woman, right? In the music business anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, so much news about Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Lainey Wilson, The Last Dinner Party, queer women, straight women, women of color, just talented women. Is that sort of what you're seeing this year too?
Absolutely. I mean, you're seeing so much go on in our country that is not in favor of women, but you're seeing so much in favor of women releasing music and really standing in their power, which is so exciting. I couldn't be more excited about the music that's coming out right now. And I haven't felt that way in a long time, but the girls are giving us all of the pops, like all the pop bops, all of the very queer forward songwriting, and they are standing in their power. They are not ashamed of who they are. And I'm loving it. And the women are stimulating the, economy. So I feel like as much as this country might want to push us down or control us, we will not be tamed and we will not be controlled, is what I'm hearing all of these amazing women say.
I love it. You are a force of nature. Where can people learn more about you and everything you do and those causes you believe in? Where can they find more about you, Jessie?
Sure. Thank you so much for saying that. You can find me online, stalk me, babes. I'm just a Google away, but you can find me at Headbot Music on all of my accounts. It's just without the I because obviously they won't let me run ads, which is so rude if I say bitch. So please follow me, slide into my DMs, find me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to chat and, give advice and be a safe space to talk.
Jessie, keep up the great work. So great talking with you.
Thank you so much.
Well, a force of nature indeed. You can read the full Inspiring Women interview from Music Business Worldwide, and the link, it is in the newsletter. Do check it out. And Jay, is certainly an awakening, I hope, in the music business. And as fathers of daughters, we both are even more sensitive to things like this. So what a great piece.
Absolutely.
Great piece.
Yep.
All right, our second story, Jay, it's from Variety. It's a guest post from, Larry Miller. Live Nation antitrust lawsuit will do nothing to lower ticket prices. Our friend Larry Miller is, of course, a professor and director of music business at NYU Steinhardt. He is the Music Business Association's Educator of the Year and producer and host of the Musonomics podcast. Let me get the marbles out of my mouth.
That's easy for you to say.
And maybe the coolest voice that we know. Yeah, that guy's got the golden voice.
He sure does, and he's just a badass. We love Larry. When He starts this thing by saying, when the Obama administration approved the merger of Live Nation and Ticketmaster in 2010, regulators anticipated a more consolidated but efficient market resulting from the combination of the most successful concert promoter and the largest ticketing platform.
Larry says that vision has largely come true. There is more competition now in primary ticketing than before the merger. Ticketmaster actually has lost market share, and that's before one considers the creation of a massive secondary ticketing market reshaping the competitive landscape.
Yeah, he says that's why the Department of Justice's announcement in May that it was, that it served Live Nation under the Sherman Act. It's so surprising. The lawsuit alleges anti-competitive behavior that hurts artists and fans and proposes reversing the merger it previously approved.
So Larry says, but breaking up Live Nation Entertainment will do absolutely nothing to lower ticket prices for fans. He says, I say this as a music business educator, analyst, and passionate consumer of live music. I do not advise Live Nation, and I receive nothing of value for expressing my opinion in forums like this guest column.
Right. Fans love to hate Ticketmaster, but their anger is misplaced. Artists and their teams set ticket prices and venues set fees, not Ticketmaster. The company, to its credit, has for decades quietly absorbed the ire of fans while implementing artists and venues' pricing strategies at scale and speed. It receives an estimated 5 to 7% of the ticket price for its services. 5 to 7%.
So if U.S. lawmakers and regulators are genuinely interested in making ticket prices more affordable, he says they should regulate the secondary market.
There it is.
Recently estimated at $22 billion worldwide, the secondary market drives pricing in the primary market. Artists frequently underprice tickets because they want to play for real fans, but the massive resale market has disrupted basic supply and demand.
Yeah, he goes on to say that fans racing to get tickets to a favorite artist tour now, they must compete with millions of secondary market bots that hoover up ticket inventory and, for the most popular shows, and then resell them at a multiple of face value. Tickets for Taylor Swift's Eras tour reportedly sold for as much as 70 times over face value. And unlike Live Nation and competitors such as AEG, which produces and promotes Taylor Swift's tours, by the way, ticket resellers pay nothing to the artist, venue, or promoter.
So Larry says Australia recently capped ticket resales at 10% over face value, and the UK government is considering a similar plan. But here in the US, a dozen states, including New York, have recently passed laws that forbid similar caps. The Department of Justice alleges that a breakup of Live Nation will open up the market for artists who want to tour. How exactly would that work? More than half of all artists' income comes from touring. There were over 10,000 touring artists in North America in 2022. That's 25% more than back in 2016. And not just iconic acts like the Stones or Bruce Springsteen. The number of young artists on Live Nation promoted tours who had their first hit in the last 10 years and sold more than 250,000 tickets doubled from 2013 to 2023.
Yeah. The challenge for emerging artists isn't access to the market. Their challenge is gaining, sustaining, and monetizing fan attention. It's in the artist's interest to play increasingly larger venues, offering the best fan experiences as soon as demand for their live shows from a paying audience can justify it. I've researched how the democratization of music production and distribution carried the promise of reaching multitudes of eager fans at the touch of an upload button. Yet the virtually infinite selection of music available on most streaming platforms has made it more difficult than ever for new artists to break through, especially on the global stage. Economists call that the tyranny of choice.
The post-pandemic surge of fans eager to enjoy live entertainment exposed serious cracks in the live music industry. Larry says, I've observed Live Nation to be both an aggressive competitor and an important investor in improving the artist and fan experience. Independent promoters have long complained about the company's flywheel business model, through which the company collects revenue and fees from fans and sponsors and uses its scale and access to capital to lock venues into long-term exclusive agreements. Live Nation has executed its model well. Too well, some say. But the symptoms causing fan frustration have little to do with a single company. In focusing on antitrust litigation, Washington may miss an opportunity to ensure a healthy live entertainment ecosystem.
Right. Larry goes on to say that getting this right is critical. It's critical to the artists who rely on touring to make a living, the fans who increasingly put a premium on in-person entertainment, and the millions of Americans whose jobs and communities depend on the economic boost from a vibrant live entertainment ecosystem. But it won't be solved by a single lawsuit or by focusing on one player in this industry.
So Larry says, to fix the live concert business, we need to be honest about the realities of supply and demand. We need to help artists to secure a greater percentage of their income from touring and regulate the secondary market. Policymakers should focus on correctly diagnosing the problem instead of deciding on a cure before they understand the symptoms.
Yeah, that was such a great piece. Thank you, Larry. That was for Variety, an op-ed that he did. Check out his Musonomics podcast, one of our favorites. It's so great to hear the other side of the story. And as you and I have been reporting on this, we've tried to balance that out and report both sides of this argument. And people are usually surprised when they learn that Ticketmaster isn't setting the ticket prices, right? It's the artists and their teams. And that secondary market that Larry refers to here, that's a big problem in the United States. And other countries, as he mentioned, are taking it seriously. And I hope we do too at some point, so people can actually afford to go to these. And that the people who are putting on these shows, performing, the venues, all these folks are making the revenue, not some ticket scalper. 70 times face value for some of those Taylor Swift tickets. That's crazy.
Ugh, it is crazy. Absolutely. Well, good to hear from Larry. And let's jump to our last story, Jay. It is from Jay Gilbert at Hypebot. How to plan your next release 2024. Veteran music marketer Jay Gilbert offers an updated how-to guide for every musician, label, and music marketer on planning your next release.
Yeah, a little self-serving here, but listen, Bruce Houghton over at Hypebot ran this piece that I wrote, and I use this planner, this release planner, and I'll talk about it in a second. I use it every day. So here's the story behind it. Years ago, I was attending a marketing meeting at a major label. The product manager walked us through this beautiful PowerPoint marketing plan for an upcoming release. It was very thorough, covered everything you'd expect, from a marketing plan, right? Release cadence, everybody's roles, the team's roles, goals, the narrative, super important, target audience, marketing, publicity, advertising, creative, tour dates, everything. It was amazing. There was only one problem. It was largely theater, and it was never, ever referred to again.
So how did we do? Do we hit our targets? Do we execute the plan? So Jay says, I gathered up as many past marketing plans as I could find and asked friends for examples they had held on to. He said, I grabbed a pen, a yellow notepad, went through them page by page and made a list of items they covered. I know you used that list as the foundation for what became the marketing planner.
Yeah, this marketing planner looks like a form just begging to be filled out, and it really is not that. It's simply just a guide to help you plan out your release, your weekly calls, keep everybody on the same page with, any pending action items, deadlines, roles, responsibilities, that sort of thing.
So it's broken out by setup, drivers, planning 100 days out to release date and beyond, including a section on crucial metadata for distribution setup. It's been, I think you've been revised it many times.
Yeah.
It's currently version 30, right? Version 30.
Yeah.
Yikes. And will continue to evolve with the help of Bruce and the team at Hypebot. We're offering it to you for free to use as you see fit. Feel free to make it your own. Download the free PDF of this updated music release planner in the Hypebot article. There is, of course, a link in the Your Morning Coffee podcast. And I got to say, I was a product manager, and I don't ever remember having that meeting where you review the marketing plan after the campaign. It never happened.
No.
I worked for the product manager as an assistant. Then I was a product manager myself at two or three different labels. And because the release cycles are so fast, by the time you get that one out, you create a plan, you show management, it's an internal thing. Okay, everybody good. And then it goes into its process. Meanwhile, you're writing another marketing plan for another release. And then so by the time that last one ends, you're already 2 or 3 more marketing plans into other projects.
That's right.
And so it's very rare to look back.
Yeah. And also the music industry has a bad habit of basically jumping ship after week 2. So they do all of this planning and all of this work, and they pay all this money for targeted online ads and for videos and for marketing and all these different things. And then they're really street date centric. So they look, oh, what did we do week 1? I mean, it's still, what charts did we get on? You know, that's that mentality. And then sometimes they'll look at week 2 to see what the drop off, the decay is. And we talked about this recently with this Bon Jovi, this latest Bon Jovi record. First week, it was over 50,000 units, and it debuted at number 5. Second week, it dropped off the chart, 5,000 units. Third week, it was about 1,500 units. And I think it's really important to take that post-mortem and look and see what, it sounds pedantic, but what worked and what didn't, you know, what can we learn from this thing? And you're right. It's just, that's not the way the industry typically works, because we're so focused on the next thing, right? And we're so focused on that street date. So.
Well, and what I've seen happen, and I think I've talked about it on the show, is I remember being in the Warner Music Group family when an artist that they were very excited came out. Jennifer Trinan, I believe was her name. And it coincidentally, at roughly the same time, another artist that nobody cared about, nobody had even listened to the advanced tape of it, the cassette when those went around, named Alanis Morissette. And that record came out and it exploded, and it just took all the oxygen out of the room, you know, because especially that record was so, the response was immediate, and everything else that was coming out at the same time just kind of fell to the wayside, and all the money, all the distribution attention, all the internal attention went to Alanis Morissette. And these things happen internally all the time as well. Yeah. So, you know, it's great. I think it's a wonderful thing every time you talk about it. It's important to go back and look and grade yourself. You know, you learned things. Yeah. So there you go. So, and finally, we covered a story recently from The Verge with the headline Discord's Rythm Music bot returns with a mission to overhaul shared listening.
Yeah, this is about that company Rythm. It's spelled R-Y-T-H-M. This week, I spoke to their CEO and co-founder, Yoav Zimet, all about Rythm, which is basically music integration for Discord, and it's used by millions worldwide. Let's listen in on my short conversation with Yoav Zimet from Rythm. Yoav, good to see you. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
For those with no prior knowledge about Rythm, tell us about it. What does it do?
Of course. So Rythm is a community-based group music platform. It essentially allows people from anywhere in the world to join and listen to music together. Through Rythm, music fans can listen to any of the catalog from global acts to rising independent artists. You essentially can start a listening session, invite all your friends, and then you have a collaborative queue where you can collaboratively listen to music, discover new music, and see what your friends are listening to. So on top of that, join like a chat room and video and voice calls. So you can also be hanging out online while listening to music.
Talk about Rythm's longstanding relationship with Discord and how your community of music fans is really growing.
Yeah, so I joined Discord actually back in 2016, and it's been amazing to be a part and foster that community from the very early days. It's been such a platform where you can really connect directly with fans, and people will really kind of share music. So building Rythm originally on that platform was really exciting, and seeing all the new connections that were being built there on that platform, and how that's evolved is really into this new iteration of Rythm, where now we're bringing that community back. And it's really been super amazing to kind of see all the connections and all the growth and all the people who are discovering new music on there.
Yeah. It's really exciting because we are so isolated today, and it's so great to have something like this where it's more about community and collaboration. Where can our listeners learn more about Rythm FM? And you might want to spell that because they may not be able to Google it right.
Of course. So the best place to find more about Rythm is on our website. So that will be rythm.fm, or on our socials, which is also rythmfm on Twitter, Instagram, and the rest.
Continued success, Yoav. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great stuff and a great way to end the show.
Yeah. Yep, very much so.
Awesome,
And it's really cool to see people collaborate. And with music, it's such a shared experience. Like if we were growing up together, we would go over to each other's houses and we'd listen to records, and it was this shared experience. And this sort of brings a little bit of that back into the fold, where you can experience the same music with your friends while doing the same activity. So kudos to Rythm.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And finding a way to kind of bring back an old school thing into new school realities. So good stuff. And as we wrap up the show, if you enjoy the show, Jay and I would just certainly appreciate it if you just tell one friend. And of course, big thanks to Bandzoogle, Music.ai, Hypebot, and Bands in Town. So on behalf of my good friend Jay Gilbert, I am Mike Etchart, and we both say thanks for listening in, and we'll be back next week on the Your Morning Coffee Podcast.
You've been listening to Your Morning Coffee, the weekly music news program for the new music business. Join Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart next time for the digital music news you need to know.